عاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له الملك الحق المبين وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله سيد ولد آدم أجمعين صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. As we start the next class, and the class, like I said, starts at 3, as we started today at 3:48 p.m., which is Sunday, April the 8th, which is on the Gregorian calendar, 2018. As we now, in regards to the Hijri calendar, which is the 24th of Rajab, 1439, after the Hijrah of Mustafa alayhi salatu wassalam. And we know this month of Rajab, as we draw closer and closer to Ramadan, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to reach Ramadan and allow us to also likewise be amongst those who fast in it and stand in it in prayer and be amongst those who are maghfureen, who are forgiven for. But Ramadan is quickly drawing close. And like we said, as we approach the end of Rajab, this month in which a lot of people also do innovative practices in, inshallah, which we'll try to enlighten the people on so they can be on guard against it, even though the month is already over, almost, but still to have an ilm of the different innovative practices that people do in this particular month. But as we now go back to the book of Buloogh, Al-Maraam, by the great Imam Al-Hafidh Ahmad ibn Ali ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahimahullah, who died 852 after the Hijrah of Mustafa alayhi salatu wassalam. We were speaking about the different marriages which are invalid. And you'll find that we stopped in regards to the narration of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam had talked about the marriages, another marriage that is invalid in our religion. We said, when we say the word invalid, a person would say, what are you speaking about as far as in regards to one thing, or a certain affair being invalid? We mean invalid with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not, He Himself, does not accept this marriage as being something that pleases Him. Rather, it's a marriage that He, tabarak wa ta'ala, just like as we said, goes back to Aqeedah again. We just talked about this a couple of minutes ago. Something that Allah detests. Rather, these type of marriages are not acceptable, and Allah Ta'ala does not see these marriages to be unacceptable. Rather, these are marriages that are invalid, and on the day of resurrection, as we know, all of our actions and our statements are recorded, and they are all what? They are all being written down. And when this comes, as when our pages are laid out and our scrolls are laid out, that we indulge in this type of marriage, and then, as we know, we'll be brought to account. So that is the aqeedah of a Salafi or Muslim in regards to when we say validity or invalidity. We look at it from the aspect of pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or an affair that displeases Him. So that's how we look at all of our affairs. Not just saying invalid, but invalid with who? Because one would say, okay, invalid with who? We say invalid with Allah. How is it invalid with Allah? It's invalid with Allah because He Himself, upon the tongue of His Messenger, has declared this marriage to be unlawful. When an affair is unlawful, what does that necessitate? That Allah does not like that affair. Because He made it what? Forbidden. From those marriages that are forbidden, it's like we said, that a person marries, we said gathers between his maternal aunt and his paternal aunt at the same time. And also likewise, we talked about the marriages of marrying two sisters at the same time. Those marriages are hated, detestful in the sight of Allah, like we said, and one should not indulge in it. We also talked about a couple of weeks ago, we said that marriages break down into two types. That as far as the forbiddance of it. We said you have forbiddance, which is mu'aqqat, which is temporary. You have a forbiddance that is temporary, meaning up to a certain point or a certain time, And then you have what they call tahreem abadi, or ala al-abad. Then you have that unlawfulness of something which is forever, in which we're going to discuss again, inshallah, and bring a little bit more details in light of what we also mentioned last lesson. So, we gave examples of the first category, which is what they call tahreem mu'aqqat, a temporary forbiddance, where it's forbidden only up to a certain amount of time, in which we gave the evidence for, like we talked about before, for example, or example that we gave before, such as if one was to marry two sisters at the same time, this is unlawful, al-jama'. One was to marry a woman and marry her sister at the same time is unlawful. Now let's just say he divorced the sister. He divorced the sister that he was married to, or the wife he was married to. He divorced her, or let's just say she died, rahimahullah. She died, rahimahullah. طيب. So now, this forbiddance has now been what? It changes in what, everyone? It changes to it being permissible. Did we mention this last lesson? We did mention this. Gee. So, now that's an example of the first category, which is, for example, gathering between two sisters at the same time is unlawful up until the point where a circumstance happened, whereas either the woman is divorced or she passes away, rahimahullah. Then what comes as a result of it again, like we said, the forbiddance now is raised, where he can marry the sister. Also likewise, the same thing in regards to a maternal aunt and a paternal aunt. Same thing. There's another example of this affair. He cannot gather between the maternal aunt or the paternal aunt. But if, now let's just say, he says, لا يجمع بين المرأة وعمتها ولا بين المرأة وخالتها. Let's just say now, his wife died. If the wife died, can he now marry the maternal aunt or the paternal aunt? Can he marry her? If the woman was to what? To pass away or become divorced, can he marry the maternal or the paternal aunt? Can he or can he? J. Ahsant. Yes, he can. What is impermissible is a jama'. What's permissible is to gather between them simultaneously, meaning at the same time. That's what's impermissible. Now, we want to discuss some details, because I talked about, we spoke about polygyny last lesson, in which, inshallah, bi'idhnillah, which I'll discuss a little bit more details probably on another occasion, but we gave a little bit of enlightenment in this regard with the great Imam who's still living, وَطَالَ اللَّهُ فِي عُمْرِهِ عَلَى الْأَعْمَالِ الصَّالِحَةِ, the great Imam who's still living today, Sheikh Salih Fawzan ibn Abdullah al-Fawzan, hafidhahullah ra'ah, that he mentioned of giving a lot of different benefits as far as plural marriage. And that's what we discussed last lesson, and which we'll talk about again on another occasion, because we brought some benefits that are very, very enlightening and very informative that he did mention in regards to this matter, in which I think our sisters, inshallah, bi'idhnillah, when we get some time, we'll try to discuss it in more detail. A lot of us, lil-asaf, we regretfully say, a lot of us have been brought up upon the ideologies of the West, in which the West demonizes this matter. They totally demonize it, and they totally warn against it, and they say that this is an affair which is unjustful towards women. Rather, what's unjustful towards women is that we know in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is manifesting all of His signs every day, showing how this affair is something that is known, and that He ta'ala is pleased with it, and He's pleased with His creation to do it and indulge with it. And we have to always remember that anything that Allah legislates, He loves it, and ta'ala, it will bring benefit to the creation. It will bring benefit to the creation. It will bring benefit to society, and bring benefit to alleviating and even healing, and also likewise ridding the social ills and problems that are facing us of today. Rather, everything that is acceptable is what's destroying our society, such as same-sex marriages, such as, for example, boyfriend and girlfriend, and fornication, and adultery, and all these other different affairs that are now so-called acceptable. Rather, it is acceptable in society, which is destroying society. Because it's destroying families, it's destroying lineages, it's causing hatred, where one, like we said, a woman is just used in a manner which is just sexual, and then she's thrown in the garbage can and joined with the rest of the people just like that. Whereas, once she becomes older, then the new women and the younger women are now what? They're the new, as they say, the new prey and the new meat. So it's out with the old, in with the new. So all these type of affairs is actuality destroying society. And everything that Allah has legislated is going to bring rectification to society. And from those affairs is plural marriages. Plural marriages will rectify and bring a lot of benefit to society. But because of the West and the ideologies of the West, and not only the ideologies of the West, but also how some of our brothers are practicing polygyny is also turning women off. So it's not just the ideologies of the West that are demonizing this affair, which some of us are still holding on to, but also from the practice of some of our brothers who do not educate themselves also has turned our women off from indulging in this matter. But we'll talk about the different benefits of it on another occasion. So getting back to the second category of unlawfulness, or what they call tahrim ala al-abad, something that's forbidden forever. Something that is forbidden and unlawful forever. What are those things? Because these are the matters that we educate ourselves to teach the non-Muslims that, walillahi alhamdul minna, we have a protocol, we have a system. It's not just you can marry who you want, and not you could just marry who you want. It's open. Because they say it's open season for men. No, it isn't. Rather, you'll find, walillahi alhamd, the more you increase yourself in knowledge, the more that you'll love the religion of Islam, you will come to know that what you're upon is the truth. So, you see the organization. You see that we gave the categories. Category number one is what? What is unlawful for one man to marry in, where it's just temporary. Where the forbiddance is temporary up to a certain point. Then you have the second category, which is the forbiddance forever. Which is to show, lillahi alhamd, that everything is in its proper place. For number one, we go back to Surah An-Nisa. So go back to Surah An-Nisa again, ayah number what? Surah An-Nisa, ayah number 22. If you notice in the ayah, what does it say? It says, number one, وَلَا تَنْكِحُوا مَا نَكَحَ آبَاؤُكُم مِنَ النِّسَاءِ إِلَّا مَا قَدْ سَلَفْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ فَاحِشَةً وَمَقْتًا وَسَاءَ سَبِيلًا. Do not marry who your fathers have married of women, except what has already proceeded from the past. Of course, we explained that ayah. We explained that part from last class. He said, verily it is an abomination, it is something detested, and it is an evil way. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about how it's impermissible forever. For example, for the son to now marry a woman who his father was married to. For the son to marry a woman who his father was married to. We gave the tafsir of that ayah in light of what happened with one of the Sahaba. And the woman came to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said that, O Messenger of Allah, I see him to be a son of mine, but he proposed to me in marriage. And we said in the ayah what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the Messenger of Allah remained silent until the revelation came, and then Allah ta'ala what? Revealed this ayah. Revealing the ayah, saying that this affair is hated with Allah. Again, so you see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates certain affairs. And He hates certain matters. And hates certain acts. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described this act as a what? A fahisha. It's an abomination. It's something that is considered a fawahish. It's fuhsh. It's an abominable act. And it's something hated. And it's also what? And it's an evil way. So thus that's an example of forbiddance forever. So a man can never marry the woman whose father was married to. That's something that is what? Unlawful forever. Then you have, of course, with the second example, where we already took that about two sisters. So now, in this ayah, Surah An-Nisa, which we're about to explain and give a little bit more enlightenment on, to show that these are marriages that are invalid. So in this ayah, you'll find that Allah Ta'ala in Surah An-Nisa has now clarified the muharramat, women who are forbidden to marry, and even the reason for it. And the reason for why it's unlawful goes in this ayah goes back to 3 affairs for why it's unlawful. For number 1, sisters, you write this down if you want, write this number down. For number 1 is because it's a nasab. Firstly, you'll find in the ayah, the reason why Allah made this a matter forbidden is because number 1, they are from your family. They are from your family. So number 1, they are from your family, from your nasab, meaning from your lineage, meaning your family. So that's number 1 of why these marriages are impermissible, which we'll explain. Don't worry. Number 2 of why certain marriages are impermissible in our religion is because of breastfeeding. 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 So number 2 is Ar-Razzaaq. Ar-Razzaaq. Ar-Razzaaq meaning breastfeeding or weaning. Number 3 is Al-Musahara. Al-Musahara. What is Al-Musahara? Musahara is when one, literally in the Arabic language, Al-Sahar is to melt something together. So what do they mean by that? Not technically, no. Meaning, Al-Musahara is where people become your in-laws. They become your in-laws. So it's as if you brought families together, and now they become your in-laws. Your in-laws. So that's another third reason why certain marriages are impermissible. Certain people become your in-laws. So number 1 is because of nasab. Number 2 is from breastfeeding. And number 3 is because of what they call al-musahara. Al-musaharatu. What is al-musahara again? Well, people become your in-laws. So basically the marriage between 2 spouses, you have 2 spouses that married each other. So it's as if you're melted the families together. As if they now become one. So now, once that takes place, the contract, the marriage between 2 couples, then certain marriages now, on other angles, become what? Unlawful. You understand, everyone? So certain marriages between, or marrying certain people in your family now becomes unlawful. So it's to show how, Islam is what? Is organized. Islam has a protocol and everything is in its proper place. So it's not just open season. There's a lot of people think, and a lot of non-Muslims don't realize that we have this clarification. Everything is what? Been laid out in detail of who we can marry and who we cannot. So now, we already talked about it's not permissible for a man to marry who his father was married to. So now we're going to speak about those marriages based upon the first category, which is, number 1, a nasab, because of your family. They become, or they're in your family, or your immediate family. So if you go back to Surah An-Nisa, which is in ayah number 23, in Surah An-Nisa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, it's been made unlawful upon you, your mothers, your daughters, your sisters, and the maternal aunt and the paternal aunts, and the daughters of your brother, and the daughters of your sister. So, this ayah right here classifies under which category, everyone? Number one, which is your family, your immediate family. It's not permissible for a man to marry his mother. It's not permissible for a man to marry his of course, the fathers for all the movies. It's permissible to marry. No, it's so sad because here in this country, that would go. Here in this country, they will find some way to legitimize that. Out of all the nasty things that we see now, they will find a way to legitimize that. So we have to say that. And it's regretfully saying that we've reached this level now in this modern day society where we have to say something like this. Because usually a person would even think of something like this. That man would even marry his own mother or marry his own daughter. Back in the times where people really had some respect for themselves, that wasn't even a thought. But now it's given a thought now. And it's actually been done. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what? That your mothers have been made unlawful for you. And your daughters. So it's not permissible for a man to marry his daughter. Or his sisters. Or his maternal aunt or his paternal aunt. Or the daughters of his brother. Or the daughters of his sister. The reason why this is unlawful due to what, everyone? Due to nasab, because they're your immediate family. So we want to give now details in regards to the mother. To the mother. Al-Ummahat. Al-Ummahat, the mothers. وَإِنْ عَلَوْنَ, as they say, مِنَ الْجَدَّاتِ. So not only is your mother, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says your mother is unlawful, know for a fact that also is included in that is also your mother's. And what now, it goes back to the what? To the older part of the lineage of your family, such as your grandmother, and your great-grandmother, and your great-great-great-grandmother, and your great-great-great-great-grandmother, to the end of it. They're unlawful. So, keep in mind, not only does it says in the ayah, your mother was impermissible for a man to marry, but also those who are likewise in that same type of quwwah, or they say is the same type of if you want to say, as far as in the same type of level of strength, as far as in the aspect of her being your mother, similar to that is the grandmother and your great-grandmother, to the end of it. Because that's still considered, in the end of the day, what, everyone? Your mother in Islam. Also, likewise, even the grandmother doesn't matter, whether it's from your father's side or the great-grandmother from the mother's side. It's not permissible to marry those women. Is it clear what I'm saying so far? Right. Also, even the daughters. Even your daughters. So, one's daughters is also likewise one's daughter is impermissible to what? To marry. وَإِنَّ نَزَلْنَا. Even if they what? It goes down the line. What do we mean go down the line? Exactly. Even the banat al-ibn. Even the daughters of your what? Of your son. And the daughters of your daughters. The daughters of your son or the daughters of your daughters. Similar to that. وَإِنَّ نَزَلْنَا. And also goes down the line. Is it clear so far what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear? So all those marriages are what? Unlawful and forbidden. Then you have al-akhawat sawa'un kunna shaqiqat am li aban aw li Now we also have the sisters. It's not permissible for one to marry his sister. A man cannot marry his sister. It doesn't matter whether she's your shaqiqa, your blood sister, meaning y'all have the same mother, same father, or she's your sister, from your father's side, or maybe just your sister from your mother's side. You cannot marry her. Is it clear so far, what I'm saying? I can't hear. We'll talk about the we didn't talk about the in-laws. All that we'll talk about, inshallah. We're still in the first category. The first category, what we're speaking about, everyone? Huh? Nasab. Nasab is family. So everything, the focus of everything is around is what? Is found a family, the nasab. طيب. Then you have the maternal aunt. No, excuse me. This is the paternal aunt, is the ammat. Ammat. The khalat is paternal. You have the paternal aunts. With a P. Paternal. Aunts. The paternal aunts are who, everyone? Exactly. They're the aunts from the father's side. Not only they're from the father's side, they're also from the what? From the grandfather's side. So just don't keep it there. It's not just the fathers, but even the grandfathers. And it goes down and it goes up the line. When we say up the line, meaning go back in your family's generation. That's when we say up the line. When we say nazalna, meaning down the line, that means those who are in your future generation, inshallah. Your future children, your future lineage. طيب. So not only do we say al-ammat, the paternal aunts. The paternal aunt, like we said, is the sisters of the father. The sisters of the father. And likewise, the grandfathers. So don't just keep it at the fathers, also the grandfathers. And it goes up the line. And also given detail, it doesn't make a difference whether it is the maternal, why I keep saying maternal? The paternal, with a P, paternal aunts, which are from the same mother and the same father, or the paternal aunt of just the father, or the paternal aunts for just the mother, from just one side, meaning basically. Doesn't matter. Then you have al-ammat al-shiqiqat, akhawatu abik min ummihi wa abi wal-ammat. So now we just sum up everything we just said, just to sum up and go over a little bit what we just mentioned so far in that particular sentence. So we have the paternal aunts, meaning from the father's side, meaning the sisters of your father. Meaning if I'm a man, I want to get married, meaning the sisters from my father, those are my paternal aunts. It doesn't make a difference if those paternal aunts are from the mother of min ummihi wa abi, whether they be from meaning my father, meaning those sisters who are my aunts, they have the same mother and the same father. Doesn't make a difference. Or they're my paternal aunts, where my aunts from the father's side, that is just for, or they just have one side, where it's just for a father, or it's just what? Or it's just for the father, on just they just have one side. Or it's just on my paternal aunts, they just have it from one side, where it might just be from his mother, or what have you. It doesn't matter. All of that, like we said, if a man is married, he cannot what? Marry them. We'll talk about that inshallah. But if he's married and he's in a family, it's not permissible for them to what? To do that. To marry his paternal aunt or his maternal aunt. As far as now, we're going to go inside of the what? The maternal aunt. From the mother's side. So or ammat is from the what? From the father's side. Now we're going to khalat. Kha or khalat is maternal aunt or maternal aunts, meaning the sisters of the mother. And not only just the sisters of the mother, but also what? The sisters of the grandmother. So it's not just the sisters of the mother, it's the sisters of the grandmother too. And it goes up the lineage. Doesn't matter. And then it doesn't matter if the sisters of the mother, if it's shaqiqat li ab or li It doesn't matter whether or not they have what? They are. It's the same thing we just applied to the what? To the paternal aunt situation. Same thing. Doesn't matter. It's just to sum up everything. It's the same thing. Whether they have the same mother or father, or they might just be connected where they just have one mother, or the other maternal aunts just have, or they just relatives from the aspect of just the mother. Doesn't matter. So both of them, all of them are what? Impermissible. Then you have al-khalat li-abi akhawatiha min abiha. We already talked about that, alhamdulillah. We just said in the lineage that goes up. Doesn't matter. So we already, alhamdulillah, we just said that. Fine. So, we all just gave the examples of if the lineages go what? Go back and up and up and up and up, it doesn't matter. If this is the case, then it's not permissible for one to indulge in this type of marriage whatsoever. And then we just talk about we gave different examples of the ajdad, the great aunt or paternal aunt, doesn't matter. As long as it's in that same category, in that lineage, and going up, it doesn't matter. It falls under the same ruling. Type. So now, we're going to speak about what we talked about as far as a nasab in regards to, we just concluded in regards to what is of the immediate family, of your family. So if you want to just say, just to sum up everything and make it concise, it says, if you want to just keep it concise and straight to the point without all those details, you could say that nasab is restricted to or upon a man or upon a person who wants to marry of women. They call those type of people, of all those relatives that we just mentioned, they call them the usul. The usul. Usul meaning that they're the foundation pillar of your family. Your mother, your father, your paternal aunts, the grandmother, the family of the grandfather, to the end of it. They're your usul. They're called the foundation or the pillar of your family. So it's not permissible for a man to marry his usul. He can't marry his mother. He can't marry his grandmother. You can't marry his father's sisters, or the sisters of his mother, who is his aunts. You can't marry any of them. So all those women are what? They're considered, like we said, this type of family is considered your usul, your foundation. They're your core family. It's not permissible to marry the core, the usul. Then you have the furu', the branches, and it goes down, meaning the future generation. فروع الأب والأم وفروع الجد والجدة بصلبهم خاصة. Then you have the branches, meaning the branches that's further down the family line. It doesn't matter whether they go up or down. Like your great to the end of it. Doesn't matter. Or, for example, your grandchildren, your future grandchildren, it goes down and down and down and down the line. You cannot marry, for example, the daughters of your daughter. And then their daughters. Meaning your great daughters. To the end of it. All that is what? Unlawful. Doesn't matter. Type. So we just finished the first category, which is what, everyone? Which is called nasab. It's based upon what's unlawful upon a man to marry of women that is from his immediate family, from his lineage, from his family, his immediate family or his lineage. Is that clear? Did we make that clear? Is there a question? Before I move on to the second one. Is it clear so far, sisters? G. So the first one is nasab. Then you have the second category, which is what? Rada'a, breastfeeding. Now, breastfeeding in the religion, وَلِلَّهِ الْحِلْمُ الْمِنَّةِ, to show the honor of how breastfeeding brings also families together. Breastfeeding brings families together in Islam. And you'll find this is very prevalent, especially in Morocco and things like that, in Morocco and other different countries too. But especially when I visited Morocco, you found that there was families that were ties in where they said, oh, that's my sister from breastfeeding, meaning that's your sister. So once you now let a woman breastfeed your child, and after a certain suckling amount of sucklings, that becomes your family almost for the child. For the child, the one who suckled your child, that baby now has another family. You made them now a family. So now we talk about the ayah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in ayah number 23. He says, in your mothers in which وَأُمَّهَاتُكُمُ اللَّاتِي أَرْضَعْنَكُمْ وَأَخَوَاتُكُمْ مِنَ الرَّضَاعَةِ. He says, in your mothers in which breastfed you, and your sisters from breastfeeding. The message of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned and said that what's unlawful of breastfeeding is the same thing which is unlawful of a nasab, of lineage. So to conclude everything, so we could just say a lot of details and not say unnecessary, but from elongating this particular matter here, let's just sum up and say that everything we just mentioned first applies to the same category number 2. It says, وَهُنَّ الْأُمَّهَاتُ وَالْبَنَاتُ وَالْأَخَوَاتُ وَالْعَمَّاتُ وَالْخَالَاتُ وَبَنَاتُ الْأَخْ وَبَنَاتُ الْأُخْتِ. Everything applies for the first category we mentioned, applies to the second. Everything. Just to sum up everything. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So, once you breastfeed, some certain amount of sucklings that a woman does to a particular baby, after a certain amount of suckling, then now you have joined and made a family. So now these ahkam, they take place. طيب. Now we're going to speak about what they call وَأُمَّهَاتُ نِسَائِكُمْ وَرَبَائِكُمُ اللَّاتِي فِي حُجُورِكُمْ مِنْ نِسَائِكُمُ اللَّاتِي دَخَلْتُمْ بِهِنْ. Now we're going to talk about the last part of the ayah, where it says the mothers of your women, meaning the mothers of your wives. So now we're talking about the third category, which is called al-musahara, who are your in-laws. Your in-laws. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in his book, وَأُمَّهَاتُ نِسَائِكُمْ, the mothers of your wives, and also وَرَبَائِب, meaning Rabiba. Rabiba. What is a Rabiba? Does anyone know what a Rabiba is? A Rabiba. Rabiba is the stepdaughter. Meaning you marry a woman and she already has a child from another man. That now, once a man marries that sister, she's now the daughter of the wife. That becomes his Rabiba. The stepdaughter. I hate to use the word stepdaughter or stepchild, because here in America, as long as the stepchild gets abused or something like that, that's how bad it is. But that's the meaning of it, just for lack of better words. The Rabiba. So now, if I was to marry a woman, she has a child, that child, who's a female, will become my Rabiba. Rabibati. Meaning, my stepdaughter. Now, notice Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, He says, those stepdaughters that have been in your quarters, fi hujurikum, meaning in your rooms or in your living quarters, up under you, of your women, in which you consummated with their mother. In which you consummated with their mothers. Meaning, what does that mean, everyone? Now here's a little bit tricky. Here's a little bit tricky. If a man marries a woman and he's intimate with her, meaning he had a marriage contract, he has the marriage contract, they had the dowry, the conditions have been fulfilled. If he marries her, he consummated with the mother, then her daughter is unlawful forever, meaning to marry. Jayid. However, let's just say he never consummated with the mother. He never consummated, made a marriage contract. Never touched the mother. Never touched her whatsoever. Is it permissible for to marry the daughter now if you want to make a contract? Say it again. He made a marriage contract with the mother. But he was never intimate with her. Never. Never touched her. Never had any intimacy, nothing. Could he still now marry the what? The daughter? Huh? Some people say yes, some people say no. Good. Now a person says another wise answer, and I don't know. Alhamdulillah. No, there's no problem. Whether the person say yes, no, I don't know, G. Because I'm brainstorming with anyone anyway, so it doesn't matter. But, so, the answer is yes. He can marry that stepdaughter. As long as he did not what? Consummate with the mother. If he consummated with the mother, khalas, it's done deal. Done deal. He can't marry that daughter forever. Doesn't matter whether he stayed with the mother or he divorced the mother. If he stayed married or they divorced, he cannot marry her daughter forever. Because he what? He consummated with the mother. So being that the case, if this is the circumstance, this is the reality of the state of affairs, he cannot marry, he cannot marry the stepdaughter at all. طيب. So now it goes in the ayah, what does it say? He says, now notice in the ayah, if you look at Surah An-Nisa, if everyone has a mushaf or Quran, it says in the ayah, Allah Ta'ala mentioned that clearly. What does it say in the ayah? فَإِن لَمْ تَكُونُوا دَخَلْتُمْ بِهِنْ فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ. If you did not consummate with them, meaning the mothers, then there's no junah. There's no junah, meaning it's permissible for you to marry the daughter. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, Allah ta'ala, in the ayah says it clearly himself subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah ta'ala says, وَحَلَائِلُ أَبْنَائِكُمْ وَحَلَائِلُ أَبْنَائِكُمْ الَّذِينَ مِنْ أَصْلَابِكُمْ. Then you have, he says, the hala'il, hala'ilu, which is the plural for halilatun. Halilatun. What is a halila? Halila. Halila is the wife of your sons. The wife of your son. Or my son. Say based upon a man's situation. The wife or the family of my son. I cannot marry the woman who my son was married to. So you see how Islam gives so much detail. And these type of affairs increases our iman to show what we're upon is the truth. Gives you now all these details. So it's not just open season. Oh, man could just marry his mother, his sister, he could marry his daughter. Just how these nasty, or these people who practice, what they call it again? Oh, stuff it all to me. The Mormons. You have from the Mormons, they marry and they keep it in their families. The mother, the father, the sisters, all these different things. And you'll find from amongst them that they have a lot of deformities in their family. A lot of deformities and a lot of birth defects. Because of these type of matters that Allah made unlawful. We're not like the Mormons where they do these type of affairs. Alhamdulillah, our religion, everything is what? It's protocol, and it's very what? It's very accurate. So it's not just open. So the halila is the wives of your children, of your sons. It says, so the halailu abnaikum, the wives of your sons, and which is from your aslab, meaning from your lineage, or from your sulb, meaning from amongst you, meaning your children that are from you. Taib. So notice that we concluded and said on the third category, these are the three that are impermissible, what they call due to as-sahr, al-musahara, as-sahr. So a man cannot marry the mothers of his wife. You can't marry the mother of his wife. Or a man cannot marry the mother of his wife, ever. Now, is that impermissibility? Is that forever, everyone? Stay firm. Stay firm. Is that forever, or is that temporarily? Sisters, you can say whatever you want. You can say, a man marries a woman. Her mother, is it permissible ever to marry her or not? Forever, or is there up to a certain point? Forever. Jayyid. A man cannot marry his wife's mother forever. He can never marry her. Even if he divorced his wife, he can never marry her mother, ever. Or for the mother? For the mother of your wife? They don't usually just say ummahatu nisaikum, the mothers of your wives. But there's no specific Arabic word for it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the ayah, ummahatu nisaikum, the mother of your women, meaning your wives. طيب. So you'll find that these three are unlawful due to what they call as-sahr, because they've been melted together, they become your in-laws. So the mother of your what? Of your wife, the man's mother of his wife, is unlawful upon a man to marry the mother of his wife. And also likewise, now it goes down the line. Remember I kept saying it goes up the line or down the line. So now if you go up the line, that's from your wife's grandmother. Also likewise what? Falls in the same category. And it goes up the line. So, the mother of your wife, let's just see if you were men, for example. You're not men. Just say if they were men, for example. Man cannot marry his mother's wife, or the grandmother's wife, or the great-great-grandmother's wife, or the great-great-great-great-grandmother, doesn't matter. And up the tree. Is it clear? So it says يحرم على الرجل زوجته وجدتها وإن علت. Goes down the line, goes up the line. Also. And it doesn't matter if من قبل الأم أو من قبل الأب. Keep in mind that the mother, also likewise, the same thing that applies to what we talked about earlier a little bit, has a connection. Doesn't matter if your wife's mother, it might be from the connection, it just might be just the mother, but their father might be different or whatever. It doesn't matter. If that is the mother of your wife, a man cannot never marry her. Doesn't matter. طيب, now a person might ask, let's just say, فإذا عقد الرجل المرأة حرمت عليه أمها. Of course. وصارت من محارمه وإن لم يدخل بها. Listen to this. The man makes a marriage contract with a woman. Of course. Now it's unlawful for him, her mother. Of course. The mother now of his wife becomes from his maharim. Maharim, meaning he could never marry her. Even if he never consummated with his wife. He never consummated with his wife. Even if his wife died right before he let's just say he married her the same day she died. Maybe a little prohibited. That's a bad circumstance. Let's just say a man married a woman and he never consummated and she died. Or he married a woman and he divorced her the next day. It does not matter. Her mother is unlawful for you forever. Is it due to consummation or is it just due to the mere contract? Due to the mere contract, made it unlawful. So a man can, marriage contract, the marriage contract. So let's say a man now marries a woman. As soon as he marries a woman, by the mere marriage contract, after that's been done, your wife's mother, the mother of the wife, you can never marry her ever. Is it after the consummation or is it just due to the mere contract? Huh? Due to the marriage contract. As far as in regards to when you marry a woman and the daughter, that's something slightly different. Slightly. What we say, if he made a marriage contract, but he never touched her. Never touched her. Never was intimate with the mother, ever. Never touched her. Never laid a hand on her. Here in the instance, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if you did not consummate with her, then there's no problem. So that's slightly different. But the mother of your wife, as soon as you make the marriage contract, done. You can never marry the mother, ever. Is it clear? Clear so far? Fine. Let's just say now, even give another scenario. Let's just say that a man was, he didn't consummate with his new wife for some days. Let's just say 2 weeks. For some odd reason, maybe he married, and then he couldn't consummate. He had to go on a business trip. He's gone for his new wife for 2 weeks. Then something happened where he divorced her. Still, the mother of your wife is unlawful. Doesn't matter. And it's impermissible. And it is permissible for the mother of your wife to expose her face, to take off her clothes or what she will wear normally around the house. I hate to use the word normally or regularly around the house. He could see his mother. The man could see the mother of his wife. He could see her with her hair out to the end of it. Of what a woman, of course, would normally wear as around the house as something of showing her just the normal mahasin of what she will reveal to her children. Because now she's similar to what? As if to the point where she's as if that's your real mother. Not as far as the nasab, but due to musahara, the third category. The same ahkam that plays with a man's immediate mother is the same ahkam that plays with the what? The mother of your wife. Same thing. So a man could travel with his wife's mother, the mother of his wife. He could travel with her. He could be alone with her. He could talk to her to the end of it. Because the mother of the wife and her the great grandmothers, all of them are impermissible once the marriage contract is laid down. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? J. Now let's get into, it's 4:41. All right, 5 more minutes. Wow, time. Why? 5 more minutes. Now we're going to speak about Rabiba, or Raba'ib. We said the Rabiba, what is she? If you want to say for lack of better words, the stepdaughter. So a woman now, a man marries a woman, and she has daughters. All of them are what they call Raba'ib. Your Rabiba, that's your stepdaughter. Once a man has made the marriage contract, and he has consummated, those daughters are unlawful for him forever. He can never marry none of them. Even if the mother died, he can never marry those children. Ever. He says, وَالْمُرَادِ بِذَلِكَ الزَّوْجَةُ وَبَنَاتِ أَوْلَادِهَا. Also likewise, banat az-zawja wa banat awladiha. Also likewise, is it when intended the daughter of the wife and the children of the daughter? That's also what we're going to include. So not only is it the daughter of the wife that's impermissible once he's consummated. Once he's consummated, also what's included in that is the daughters of her what? The daughters of her, not the mother, the who? The daughter. Jade. The daughter. Also they are what? Unlawful. And it goes down the line. So if a man was to marry a woman, for verily, like we talked about before, for verily a man cannot marry the daughter of the mother, and even though the child was from another man. Doesn't matter. It's lawful upon him, and she becomes from his maharim. Meaning that the daughter can wear normally what she will normally wear around her brother or her father or whatever. She come now from her maharim. And likewise the children of the daughter. Likewise similar to that. Doesn't matter whether they be male or female. Doesn't matter. All of them are what? A man cannot marry them. طيب. They calling you there now? They calling you there. Sure. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمد وسيم الفضيل وبعث مقام. طيب, we'll stop here inshallah. See, we just gave an earful today. طيب, we'll stop here. As far as so keep in mind, we're discussing what everything goes back now to what, everyone? The third category, which is what they call what? Al-Musahara. So that's where we stopped at, Al-Musahara. Meaning, person or what the ahkam or the rulings regards to once one marries a woman who is from the in-laws. From the in-laws or from the stepchildren or what have you. That's all the meaning of Musahara. Musahara meaning, due to once you've married, it's like as if now you become a family, y'all melted together. Because sahar in the Arabic language, or sahara, it means like to, what is it that they call soldering? Soldering like a metal, to solder. Yeah, that's what they call it, to solder a metal till it becomes melted together. And that's how they took the family. That's how families are when they merge them together. It's like that they become one due to a marriage contract melting them and putting them together. So now, due to the fact that either, like we said, she's either, or ahkam plays in due to the marriage contract, due to the details that we just mentioned, from the daughter to the mother, and what have you, and the stepdaughter, or the stepchildren, and the in-laws. All those details are going to come, inshallah, in the next class. So we'll stop here, inshallah. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Any questions? Any questions about the lesson?